Bo Naylor came up clutch last night with a 2-out, 2-strike, 6th inning pinch hit, go-ahead 3-run homer that proved to be the deciding factor in the Guardians' series and game win over the San Francisco Giants in front of another terrific crowd at Progressive Field. Over the last 30 days, Bo Naylor has completely turned around his statistics at the plate. And G. Bush, as we inch closer and closer to a playoff stretch, how big is it for the Guardians to get Bo Naylor's bat into the fold to make the overall danger level of this lineup, top to bottom, that much more ferocious?
Well, if they're gonna not make no moves, this is what they gotta have happen. If you're gonna allocate now listen, I love that Bull brought up Project Stockpile. I love it. We can actually even go ahead and make this segment sponsored by Project Stockpile. Get your stockpile today on East 57th Street for half off in Green Ticket Day. Now, Project Stockpile.
What?
What the hell?
What am I stockpiling on 57? Because that can get dicey.
They can, right. Now wonder it's half off, bro.
Oh man.
Now listen, if they're not gonna get no 2 pitchers and a bat. That's not happening. The Dolphins.
Listen. I want the bar held that high.
Go. Hey, I love it.
Co-sign what Bull asks for.
I love it.
This opportunity presents itself once every 10 or 15 years.
Especially in an American league where nobody else is that good.
No.
Hey,
I love Baltimore's lineup, but their pitching is questionable.
Why can't we be the Rangers?
Let's go.
Let's go.
Why not?
Do it.
Hey, Dolan's listen. Hey, my 2 co-hosts is over here hot. They need 3 and a possible like it's spades. Now listen, if you get Bo Naylor to bat the way he is, now shout out to my mom because Bo Naylor is her favorite player,
as it should be.
Right. And me and my dad used to clown her. Like we watching the games. Hey man, Bo looking bad right now. Shut up. Listen, you leave Bo alone. She be jumping up and down, moving all around. I'm like, listen, if you get Bo Naylor to bat the way he is, and you still have Fry, who's batting the way he is, combined, if you would have told me those 2 guys is going to give you that level of production, you take that and run. You get Bo Naylor that's hitting. Now you get a couple of dudes at the bottom of the lineup. And what does he have, like 8, 9 home runs now?
Bo Naylor?
He's got 9.
He has 5 on the season.
Oh, just 5?
Oh, it's 5. Okay. I thought he was reaching double
But an
digits.
840 OPS over the last 30 days is really good, and a 283 batting average. I mean, he's been highly productive. He's had a lot of doubles. I like what I'm seeing. He's playing now like we expected him to play at the beginning of the season. Like he played at the end of the I think it is. I think he is. He had his slump in the beginning of the year lasted longer, obviously, than we would have liked. But he's back to playing right now last month like I thought he'd play this year.
I'm excited. I mean, he got 5 home runs. He's 15 off the pace I set for him, Bull.
Yeah. I mean,
anybody
20,
know?
but
He ain't going to get 20, man.
No.
But listen, I got the same type of infatuation for Bo Naylor that I do with Martin Emerson Jr. Like, I really want to see this. Yeah, seriously.
Wow.
Like, I just remember all last season when he was in the minors before he finally got caught up and all the hype that was surrounding him. And I think this kid still has a lot of potential.
Yeah.
And I think when you have a skipper like Stephen Vogt in the folds, he's being patient with him. There was a point in time a couple weeks ago to where we was talking about should Bo be sent down.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he wasn't. And so, like, for Vogt to show that he still has that level of confidence in him, it's starting to pay off. You see the dividends paying off now, how he's played. To come off the bench and a clutch situation and to hit that home run where it was a no-doubter type home run, it says a lot about, like, the confidence that this staff has in him and the confidence that he has in himself, man. So with that, I say, yeah, Bo.
Yeah, I have to fall on my sword. There's a mea culpa coming. I sat here a month ago and said, I've seen enough. I've seen it. You can't have a 180 everyday player, particularly when you got another 190 and then another backup at his position is a 150. Like, you can't do it. And we were flipping the lineup at the 6th spot. We were giving away out 7, 8, and 9. And Bull, you know that. Now you have 6 tries. Now you get 6 innings to score runs. And since I said that, I watch every day and I root for Bo like crazy. I got to tell you, of all of the Guardians, he may be the most likable. Tristan McKenzie is unbelievable. Like, if he walks in a room, he has you, like, right now.
Him and Tristan are in the top 3 to me.
And
you can say him, Tristan, and
Tristan's
Jose.
personality is just, like, I cannot. He's the kind of son you dream of.
Yeah.
He's the kind of man you wish your daughter will marry. He is perfect. He's smart. He's funny. He's engaging. He's very giving of his time. He does a lot of stuff with charities that we don't even hear about. He's just that great. Yeah. Bo's just a little smidge behind him. When you talk to Bo, and Bo's completely different. Josh walks in, you're not going to give me the smile. Just let you know. Like, all business. Bo comes in, did you get my brother to smile? And he's laughing, and so everything that Josh isn't in the personality department, Bo is. And I felt terrible saying it. I even said at the time, I love this kid, but I've seen enough. We can't have a 180 everyday player when you've got another guy that's not yet 200 and he's an everyday player. And I don't know what's happened. I don't know. There's a learning curve, and sometimes the light goes off. And it's different for everybody. The one thing I give, this is why I would make the worst manager or the worst general manager in the history of baseball. Because when I've seen enough, I've seen enough.
It's done.
And it's not like, oh, we can call this a slump, because we had never seen what we're seeing now.
Well, I mean, he hit well at the end of last year.
Not like he is this last month.
And I wonder, Jay, if in the beginning of the year, like, because he was defensively playing at an elite level. His pitch framing is the best in the league.
Fantastic.
And I wonder if he went into the season so focused on his defense because he's dealing with a young pitching staff.
Maybe.
And he knew he had to be on point. He's going to be an everyday catcher this year for the first time. I got to be on point. I got to help these young pitchers out.
And you think that stole from his
and
offense?
I wonder. I'm just kind of
No, you know what? That's a very valid theory. I want to buy that theory.
Yeah,
I'm buying that.
But
I like it.
It's a happy mea culpa because we're all happy to see that Bo has come around and is hitting
There's
so well.
no sword I'd rather fall on than
Absolutely.
that one.
Then I was critical of my team, and now they're playing better.
It's like you falling on the Austin Hedges sword. If you ever get to do that, you're going to say, I love it, because you love the guy. He's so likable.
We do this on UCSS all the time. When the player's not playing well, we make him the focal of the conversation. And as soon as we make him the focal of the conversation, he goes out there and he goes off.
Yeah.
We need to keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
Andres Jimenez, you're not hitting. Let's go, buddy. You better pull it together. I can't have this lack of hitting from you.
But I will say, we can't act like they didn't have Fry at his position. They brought Hedges in and gave him a bag of money. He looking around like I'm going to be a first-time everyday starting catcher. He looking behind him a little bit, like especially because Hedges was with Bieber, and it looked like that might be his personal catcher in the beginning of the season. Fry started hitting the ball. He gets off to a nice little first part of the year, and it's like, okay, well now, all right, I got to start hitting. Like framing pitches ain't gonna get it done. I just think at this point he's more comfortable. Like, and I'm all for guys going up there swinging hard. Like, stop all the bunting stuff. All the put the ball. I think this team, even Will Brennan, even when you take a look at some of the outfielders, now Noel swings as hard as anybody. We're gonna have to figure out if he's gonna be able to have contact. Yeah. But it's just easier to go. It's easier to go up there and go look for your pitch and hit it hard somewhere. Like sometimes I think they was thinking of way too. And when you at the plate, that's the worst thing you can be thinking about. Is thinking about 97 other different things.
Bo, you weren't here when we were talking about the added home run totals at Progressive Field, and I wanted to get your thoughts on that. I did reach out to a friend of mine who is he was the best researcher during my 17 years at ESPN. He's now with another network. And I sent him the project, and I said, can you look into this?
Yeah.
And it wasn't my imagination. The home runs at Progressive Field are up more than any other stadium but one.
Yeah.
And
they've hit more homers at home this season than they did all of last year already.
Which is mind-blowing. But obviously, there's no science to this yet.
Right.
But I did talk to Sandy Alomar about it.
Yeah.
And everybody seems to agree. There's no doubt the ball is flying out to right field. And it has everything to do with those shipping containers being gone. Yeah. That's an open breezeway now, and the ball just travels better to right field.
I think it's a combination of the changes to the field,
right.
And then you got guys being more aggressive at the plate and growing and maturing as hitters.
Sure.
And the combination has led to this just crazy number. But they played way more games on the road than home, and yet their numbers at home.
A while ago, they had played more road games than any team in baseball. I don't know if that's still the case.
Well,
but they were. Now they just played 6 at home. So
but now they got 7 on the road here before the All-Star break.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, certainly you got to feel like that's a factor. But I don't want to take away all the credit for the hitters because they deserve a lot of credit. They're hitting for more power. This is the most fun Guardians team to watch in probably close to a decade when they were, good 16, 17.
The 16 team was fun, but they
Yeah.
weren't fun the whole season. They caught fire the
Yeah,
second
yeah,
half,
sure.
and then the playoff run was magical.
But
to me, and it's weird. When was the last time the Guards had 5 All-Stars? Do you have to go back to the mid-'90s?
No, 2018.
Oh, they did. They had 5 and 18.
They had 6, I think, that year, I believe.
Wow.
I think Lindor, Ramirez, Brantley, Kluber.
God, that was a squad.
I can't remember who
man.
the others were, but I'm pretty sure they had 6 and 18.
That's a squad.
Yeah. But yes, I think this is the most time they've had I think it's the most hitters they've had since the mid-'90s, or maybe
99 probably.
yeah. Well, 99 they had, I think, 4 hitters in the starting line.
Yeah, they had
Where are
Lofton.
we attendance-wise? Because did they sell out all the home games over the weekend?
They hit 1 million in home attendance, the earliest this season for the first time, I want to say, since 2008, or maybe even earlier than that.
No, it was 2008. I heard that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it was 2008.
I've- the best
I've
attendance
noticed better fan
Oh,
support.
it's been great. Yeah.
The fans have been absolutely fantastic. Now, Bull, imagine if you add 2 starting pitchers to this group
Now we're cooking.
and a hitter that gets us all excited.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, you've got the possibility of selling out any game.
Well, I mean, listen, you got the Blue Jays falling out of it. You got some interesting pitchers there between Yusei Kikuchi and what's his name, Chris Bassett, who's from Ohio. You've got some interesting hitters like Vladimir Guerrero and Biggio there. You've got the Rays who could be out of it. Randy Arozarena could be a good guy.
Oh,
I mentioned with the Cubs, Bellinger, Nico Horner offensively.
Don't even
Jameson
mention
Taillon.
Arozarena.
No.
Well,
stop.
Here's the guy. I'll give you the guy they should. And there's almost no chance this team would trade him. But if I'm the Guardians, I call up the Tigers, and I essentially say, name your price for Tarek Skubal.
Yeah, no, they're not going to do that.
They're not going to do it.
They're not going to
But
do
I
that.
would give up almost anything.
Wow.
Anything,
really?
because that guy's one of the top 5 pitchers in baseball.
What's the
Yeah,
chances?
but I just don't see them
in
doing
your
it.
They wouldn't trade him
opinion?
to
I
them.
mean, they're building.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
They're not
I know,
tearing
I'm just
down.
dreaming.
Real
I'm
quick,
dreaming.
Mike. Real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, your opinion. The likelihood that we could add a Vlad Guerrero Jr. is what?
I don't know that. I'm not as excited about Vlad Guerrero. I'm not.
I am. I think they're not going to trade him, though. I don't think
His
it's
numbers the last couple of years have been pedestrian compared to what they were for the 2 that when they played their games. I just read this a couple of weeks ago. It was when they were in, I think.
Yeah.
When they were playing the majority of their games, where did they play? Was it Buffalo?
Yeah,
They played
that
a
one
bunch
year.
of games.
Played
Yeah.
in the AAA stadium in Buffalo.
His numbers were outrageous,
What-
but he's never hit at that rate anywhere else in the
What
big
are his
leagues.
numbers this year, Mike?
This year, give me 1 sec. I can pull it
Yeah.
up. By the way, you mentioned attendance, Jay.
Yeah.
Guardians are 22nd in attendance.
Wow.
But if
They're
you, I
usually
bet you,
27th.
I bet you, if you take out you just look at the last 2 months, I bet you they're way higher than that. Because the last 2 months,
Yeah.
attendance has been fantastic.
Yeah, but remember, once school ends,
Yeah, that's true.
everybody's
Everybody
attendance
goes up.
But that's still a little low for me. I'd like to be upper half. Got the second best record in baseball.
There's not a giant gap. So they have just over 1 million.
What is their average? You got to look at average per day.
This is their 22nd in terms of average.
And what is their average?
Just over 25,000.
That's for the Guardians. That's good.
Yeah.
They're usually in the mid to high teens.
Yeah.
And
per
they're
day.
in the, just a heads up, then I'll give you the Vlad stats, and then we'll talk about Angel Martinez. They are one of 3 teams in 25,000 average, just varying degrees.
Okay.
There's a few more teams, 27, 28, and then they're 4,000 ahead of Minnesota, Detroit, Pittsburgh, and Kansas City, which are the 4 teams below them. So
Yeah.
there's a big gap between those 4. They're kind of jumbled in. They're 2,000 a game less than Baltimore, all the way up to 19. So it's relatively close, but they're
You know
in
what's
the
crazy
upper
to me?
half of the lower third.
While we're talking attendance, the one city that I can't figure out, well, they're called the Colorado Rockies, Denver. They come out to watch this, and this team is garbage.
Idiots. Oh, my God.
They're garbage. Where are the Rockies?
16th, they average 30,000 on the dot.
30,000 fans for an absolute hot garbage product.
I got a question.
Man, that is crazy.
I know the Guardians renovation plans was 2 years. Like, do they have to complete it? Because do they have to do phase 2 of this?
Sure, they do.
They
yeah.
they have to.
Yeah.
They
The
can't
money-
just
the
leave
money's
well.
been allocated.
They
No.
can't leave well enough alone.
No, they won't.
Damn.
Take that money and spend it on a couple of pitchers.
Hey, that's a renovation I
pay
can
for
get
it.
behind.
I think the city would be okay.
And then we'll come in the offseason and paint walls over
Yeah,
there.
let's do
Well,
it.
you asked for Vlad Guerrero's
Yeah.
stats, and then we'll move on. He is hitting .295 this season with 13 homers, 52 RBIs,
Yeah,
and
that's
an
not bad.
830 OPS.
That's pretty damn
I
good.
mean, I'd take that. I'd take him.
It's not
fifth.
what we thought he was going to be.
But you don't
we thought
have
he
to
was going to be a 40 home run a year
right.
guy.
But in this ballpark, and especially he's a right-handed hitter with all these lefties.
I know.
You put him like fifth in
What
this
would it
lineup?
take to get him?
Gavin Williams.
No, I wouldn't take Gavin Williams.
Would you give up Manzardo and maybe Arias?
Yes. Yes.
Certainly, I'd give up Arias.
Why would they take that deal?
Yeah, if you're Toronto, they're like, wait a minute, what?
Arias?
Are you going to throw in a 66 Buick with rusted
I mean, I'd have to think more about the details of what they'd have to give up on, like what Toronto wants.
The first pick.
What's interesting is you have to gauge the market. Like, if there's only a few teams that are buyers, then the cost of everything goes up.
Right.
But this year, it's going to be interesting because you've got there's only a few defined sellers. Like, if you're Chicago...
those teams all stink, too, so they don't have a lot to trade.
And they're awful. They're not even, like, close. But then there's a big group of teams that when you look at the wild card standings, there's a whole bunch of teams that are within distance.
And those teams might wait to the last 48 hours before the deadline to make their decision.
More information is better.
Then it could be crazy in those last 48 hours. So
I just hope we're active. We've
got
to be. We have got to be active.
Absolute worst case scenario, they got to get one good starting pitcher. That's the absolute minimum. Is one good starting pitcher.
I want more though, Bull. I'm with you.
But I want two starters in the air.
This is the most aggressive I've seen y'all two in
They need to be. They can win the World Series. This team can win the World Series.
If the Rangers won it last year with the squad they had, and they got stronger at the deadline. They made some really big moves at the deadline last year. The Guardians are the elusive World Series trophy is closer to our grasp than it's been since 2016. And you could argue it's as close as it was in the mid-'90s with where we are in the standings.
Right.
Absolutely.
This team could have 60 wins at the All-Star break.
They have to be all in this year. They've got to go for it. They can 100% win the World Series. They got to upgrade the starting pitching.
And you got the number one draft pick, so that will help. That will help.
And we will talk about the draft pick coming up this week, and we'll hopefully get someone on who can give us a little more insight into these college players that could be drafted. We appreciate